Hi everyone, my name's Tom. I want to talk about something today that's very special to me. It's kind of what got me into gaming in the first place, particularly online gaming. Now this footage comes from Xbox Kai Farm, so thank you very much. I'm going to be watching this video. It's Unreal Championship 2 from the original Xbox. Now, I thought I'd talk a bit before I just start pressing play here and go even more. This might be quite a long video. This is something that after I think I had a GameCube, I had a PS2, just played locally with friends. I had some previous consoles to that where I was very fortunate enough growing up. I believe it was about 2002, after I'd enjoyed games like Grand Theft Auto Vice City and a few other games, that one of my friends bought the Xbox and it changed everything. With Halo 2, which I've still got here, and I've got two of my other favourite games, and I've got Unreal Championship 2. I've actually got a Dreamcast game in here, which is actually probably worth a mention. I've got Power Stone. That's one of my very favourite games as well. That was a hidden gem. I think there's a Power Stone too. That's good. We got Splinter Cell Chaos Theory, again one of my favorite games, and we got Halo 2, Halo 2 in here as well. Got the old disc, and they've all seen battle where they're all quite scratched up and they're all just stacked on top of each other. Anyway, I don't know what happened to the case with that, but online enabled, got the Xbox Live tag and everything. It always intrigued me as a kid, and basically in this era, you bought Xbox Live as a box. It was a disc like this, or it wasn't a. Might have had a. No, it did have a disc because it had demos on it. The demos were like what I really enjoyed. Actually, got me into Rainbow Six. It was Rainbow Six free demo beta, and you just put the disc in. Meant if you went and bought Xbox Live, you immediately got online with at least a game or two, and obviously because not all games were online enabled. Like the original Halo wasn't, for example. Anyway, one of the first games I bought with my Xbox Crystal. That's kind of when I got into it. I got into it when the Xbox Crystal was announced. It was a see-through console, beautiful console, and I got Unreal Championship with it. And I think something dodgy like a Terminator game is what I got with it. Really blew my mind. For that point, it wasn't HD, but it was on the verge. I believe this was 60 frames a second. I think this capture footage isn't 60 frames a second. I believe it was a lot smoother than this. I've seen other footage a lot smoother than this. But anyway, Xbox Kai here, moving on. Unreal Championship wasn't anything really like this game. Unreal Championship was more like traditional Unreal Tournament on the PC. Whereas this game, I don't know where I looked into it. It was reasonably popular. This game, I say, if you keen even have any idea, this is literally the best game, one of the best games ever made, and it hasn't been remade. It deserves a remake. It deserves even to someone rip it off, which I might put in someone like hints towards this. I'm a big fan of Dr. Disrespect. They're making a new game. I don't see the point in making any new game right now, unless it's going to be something equal to this level of good. Otherwise, this is the game I would want to see remade by Epic, but they don't care. They've obviously got Fortnite. It's an Epic game initially. So Unreal Championship, initially, unlike Unreal Tournament, first-person shooter, no big deal. This game had that. You had first-person and third-person, and you also had melee, you had power-ups that you could do for adrenaline, and you also had the occasional power-up on the field, like double damage, and I think maybe had invisibility and a few others. But the adrenaline, the third person, and the melee really made this game stand out. So let's get into it here. It's a bit of an introduction, but I thought I'd try and cover. This is a very dear to my heart, and I'm going to try and break it down because what I'd actually really like to do, and I've been thinking about it, is I'd like to get another Xbox, and I'd like to play it, and I'd like to cover this game in more detail and actually play it again. This Xbox Kai, I think, is kind of doable, but I believe these people here have all organised a meetup to play this together. I don't think, there's no one playing this game. And when I got my Xbox 360, they didn't support it for a very, 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 very long time. So the community died. They didn't do backwards compatibility for a very long time, probably not until, 10 or so years after this game was released. And there was people like myself that I loved my 360, but I wished I could still play this game. You had to play it on the original Xbox at that point. And I think the counts between the two was a little bit funny, but it's one of those things that just got lost. It got lost in that period, probably because of that. Now it works. I'm pretty sure it works fine. Maybe even you could use it online. But either way. I'll try and break it down. So you had first and third person, and you chose your weapons before the game, and you could have a variety. You could have like a firepower gun and like an energy weapon. And the energy weapon could be like the shock rifle, sniper rifle, bioshock rifle, or bio rifle. This is why I want to play it again, because my memory is only what we're going on here. I'd like to play it again and actually be able to break it down for people and really show what a tremendous game this really was. The skill ceiling, you will not see anywhere near this skill ceiling here. This is obviously just some people doing it for nostalgia's sake, but in its day, this game's skill was on another level. It got to the point, which I think does come across in this, it got to the point where you couldn't just predict where someone was going to be. You had to be good at aerial takeouts. So being able to shoot that person in the air there would have been the main play, because most of the time it was just good. So you got a lock-on system. You could target people and you can free aim. The lock-on system was mainly good for, so like the melee here, he's locked on, and you could do a jump charge attack like that, which was good for maneuvering across the map. You could also attack people, and you also had a burst, which he just did there as well. I believe that burst cost adrenaline. The adrenaline is this blue bar up here in the corner, and I believe most adrenaline moves cost usually, it used to be about 2 blue bars, and this fills up over time, and I think you can pick up some things around the map that will help you build up your adrenaline. And obviously this top bit's your health, and you can go over your health. I believe some of the bigger characters, so this guy's Anubis, the main face of the game, he's just a normal character, and so I believe he's got normal health. Some of the bigger characters like Juggernauts have got full health, and I think some of the lighter characters like Selket, I think's her name here, one of my favourites back in the day, she's a light character, so she's got lighter health. But the trade-off is, obviously, as you would think, she's quicker than Anubis, and the heavier guys are a bit slower, but they're more powerful, and so on and so forth. But these weapons, you could basically choose, when I kind of went over it a bit, you could choose what you want. So you went in with, if you wanted a rocket launcher and a sniper, you could choose that. You always had these unlimited ammo of the pistols, and the pistols were a single shot. You had 2 pistols, or you could charge them up, and that's the charge shot that made this game really quite unique. You could hold them together, charge them up, and it will release a burst shot of a frozen orb. If that frozen orb hit someone, and it had a bit of homing, it actually had a bit of help to assist. If that orb hits someone and you go into melee and move right up to them, the game will give you a combination, that does actually happen in here, to do what is called a coup de grace, and it's basically an instant kill. Almost a bit of humiliation thing. So it got to a point in this game where melee was extremely powerful. You could push 2 people with melee and actually confidently walk up to them, because there was another crucial bit in this, which I don't think this guy might not be able to do, is you could reject with melee. Melee had so many options in this, including using adrenaline moves to help your advantage. Like zero gravity, there's speed, you've got heal. I say we'll go into it. This game's, I don't know why it's not been remade. It was so good. Nothing has come close since. I've been meaning to do a video like this for a long time, but people don't watch my stuff. So if you do, thank you very much. This is something very close to my heart in terms of gaming, but there was a huge community for it back in the day, and I just love it. So I believe that's an adrenaline bit right there. And the sniper, you could shoot normally. Each weapon had 2 different fire modes. So like the rocket launcher could be single shot or triple charge shot. They all had different timings. The sniper was the same. It was like single shot scoped, or it was like a triple shot, just normal hip fire. This is a team deathmatch, so they're on the same team. The characters were so good as well. Very, very good. Each character there wasn't really any weak characters in the game, to be honest. Each character had unique adrenaline moves. I want to kind of go back to that briefly. So you pressed like the adrenaline menu and you had 2 options. Each character had unique adrenaline moves. As I said, it uses a different amount of adrenaline up here. You had nimble, I believe that was just maybe makes you jump better, actually, being Anubis. That might be kind of unique to him. I think most characters had 2 unique adrenaline moves, and then everyone else had the same thing. So energy burst, very actually these all three might be unique. Actually, thinking about it, I can't remember, but basically everyone had heal, speed, and anti-gravity. And these is what really made the game stand out. That when you get to such a high level and you're trying to take people on, most of the time you wouldn't really have any adrenaline, and you would very rarely use the adrenaline to heal unless it was a panic, like someone's chasing you down, you're getting non-stop barrage of rockets, you would just spam heal as much as you can just to try and get out of there. But other than that, Energy Burst is very powerful. A strong Anubis players always got me with that. But just having like zero gravity, maybe it was nimble, that might probably what was zero gravity, and speed. But everybody had this, as I say, and this built up over time. So again, it was like giving you power-up moves while playing the game. It was really good, and each character had unique ones. Some were better than others. Like I believe there's a couple of characters like, I can't remember if it's Brock or someone was called in this, some very powerful and popular characters. I could never go up there. That was always, you're meant to be able to side jump like he's doing, but it was always a bit, I struggled to do that. I say I'd love to show it more, I'd like to play it and actually show it properly from my perspective, because I played this seriously competitive. It was my first game at 13 years old playing Xbox Live. But tremendously fun. I played it for at least a couple of years, probably till the 360 came out, so I don't know when that was. And this was probably late towards the original Xbox lifespan this game came out. But this, as I say, this is like a server or a system that someone has set up to bring the servers back online so people can play together. But I think everybody has to be using the same server setup. I don't really know how they've done it. I've meant to look into it, but I'd imagine there's no one doing it, so I don't know. Whether there's still people playing it on Xbox or not, I don't know. The announcer is really what made this game as well. I think you could have two different announcers. You've got kill streak, and if you've got kill streak going on, the announcer goes crazy. But I'd like to think, even from what I've said already, you can kind of picture the excitement. If you're basically, melee was very strong. Some people just did that, they would use the rocket launcher a bit and then just push you with melee, because it's like 2 or 3 hits and you're dead from your staff or whatever. And you've got like multiple different moves. You could charge up, lunge, you've got that energy pulse, you can move forward. I think there was a burst forward. Now this is the bit, the characters in the game were incredibly good in my opinion. Selket wasn't that popular. She was a bit popular. Lauren was quite popular. Anubis wasn't that popular, but there was definitely 1 or 2 Anubis mains back in the day that were really good. This robot was a bit newbie. There was again 1 or 2 people in the community that were very good with him, but on the whole, not very good. This bottom guy I don't think anyone used. He was a bad version of this. But here we have Raiden, and Raiden from Mortal Kombat. And I'm glad to see it, because he was a grind, and that's something that I'd like to do a video of, is how to unlock Raiden in this game, because it was, well, just do it again, because if I remember rightly, it was very difficult. You had to do, there was a lot of single player challenges, and there was a single player story, if I remember rightly. But there was like single player challenges you had to do in the game. The bots were fantastic to play against. And I remember unlocking Raiden was a bit of a grind. He was essentially Anubis, but with a couple of unique moves. But he was one of my favorites. He really was. I got the coup de grace. I got that down to a T. I could coup de grace someone instantly, because the freeze animation only lasted for a few seconds, and you had to button mash like crazy to be able to do the finishing move. And it's good to see this guy here clearly was a bit of an OG, because he does do that at least once. I've seen, I only watched this video a little bit, but he does do that at least once, and he punches in the code very quickly. The code always started with XY, and then it would be another 4 or 5 buttons you would have to combo in, and it was very good. So you freeze someone, you charge up, hit someone with a freeze, get your melee out, walk up to them, XY, and then maybe like LR up down B, and you would do your combo. And it was so fun. It was so good, particularly if someone was really difficult and you were doing this team game. You could counter someone and just freeze them, coup de grace them. It didn't give you anything special. It was just a good sort of, it just finished it. It just felt great. It just feels really good. That move he did there was like your traditional melee. That was like a heavy melee move you could do, and was very powerful but very risky because it kind of put you in a locked animation. So not many people did that. But again, that was another bit of a flex. If someone killed you with that, it was quite a flex move, and it was very strong. But again, only quite close combat. But the melee was so diverse. So like there, he lunged to get up here. The movement was insane. He could equally have gone nimble, and you could have gone nimble and double jumped and almost counter behind this player over here. There was so much diversity in what you could do. So this is what I'm on about. X, Y, R, R, down, down, boom. Awesome stuff. And you could control the taunts in the game. So like there was taunt menu in the side with multiple different taunts, and most of the time in a good game people are either talking, or you also had the taunts going mad in the corner as well, because there was a lot of taunts per character. But that was the coup de grace. I don't know if I need to just go back to just show you briefly, because I think it might be one of the few in the game. And that's Raiden walking past as well. Oh no, that's before he did. So you see, freeze to finish the enemy. X, Y, R, down, down. Easy. Easy all day. But you can imagine, froze him, he's locked on here. Get your melee out, walk up, X, R, down, down. You can do that like so quick that people... It almost feels like the moment you got frozen, you got finished, and it was just so swag. As I say, in this day, this game was still, to my opinion, one of the most highly skilled console games I have ever played, and I cannot believe for the life of me it has never returned. It's not been remastered, no one's copied it. Epic hasn't even bothered to even announce it. I mean, I've been excited for so long to try and think they'll do an Unreal Championship 3, but there's nothing. And there probably won't be. And it's only thanks to people like this that have even done a video in the last few years. I mean, this is from last year, that there's actually footage even on YouTube, because the footage from back in the day then, there is a couple of montages, but the quality, you know, it's like less than 144p because of the capture card. And I did try doing capture card content back then, but the computers were so bad, and my computer was particularly so bad, I couldn't do it. I'd have loved to have... I did start a lot of this content creation a long time before most people. It's just I was told it was a joke. Nothing like YouTube had like really get much gaming content on it. I was told to stop wasting my time. You know, go and get a job and everything else, and now look at the industry. It's insane. I'd love to have gone back in time and told my 13-year-old self what the future was going to be like with this stuff, you know, because it is changing. So you could see that person there was actually looking to reject. If you could reject someone's sniper shot, it was an instant headshot. Beautiful to see it. It was so fun to pull off. Someone's just sniping you, just try and think, like, almost make yourself a bit bait from cover, and then reject, and it would instantly kill the enemy. Same thing with almost rocket. The rockets were a little bit slower, but if you ejected a rocket, it would send it back towards the enemy about twice, if not 3 times as quickly, and it was very hard for that person that shot the rocket to avoid it, unless you know, be nimble or speed, use some adrenaline moves to use it to advantage. But yeah, terrific game, really good. I really have a lot of nostalgia for it. I say I'd like to replay it again. I really would, and do more content, just myself playing it. And there is, I'm sure, a community that still remember fondly this game. It's just, in the day and age of free-to-play, and developers are not having anything unique, and you want something skill-based. This game was skill-based, like seriously skill-based. Nowadays there's too many cheaters and everything. You would get cheaters and it would just ruin something like this, unfortunately. But back then I can't remember anyone cheating in a game like this. You know, just everyone's on the level playing field. You, the controller, your internet, and that was kind of what separated you, really. It wasn't really much more than that. The headshots were very satisfying in this game. Yeah, nice, there you go. Bit unclear. I think this is what I mean, the frame rate's a little bit low, unfortunately, on this footage. The Guns in the game were so good. There was like a rip sword disc weapon, there was a rocket launcher, I believe there was a grenade launcher which that Raiden might have been using. I never used the grenade launcher. But the bio, my combo was either rocket launcher and bio weapon, or rocket launcher and sniper was my kind of go-to. The bio weapon became my go-to weapon. Malcolm was one of my favourite characters. Malcolm, Raiden, Selket, if that's her name. I even like, there's one of the main characters in the story called is a bearded dude, and I can't remember his name. He was pretty good. He had a sword. I think he ends up actually getting killed in the story, but he was really good, and he was very popular online. Malcolm was one of the only characters that had homing, and he was deadly. If you could put your homing on, and with your rocket launcher, he was so good. But equally, if you were good at rejecting, like I said earlier, it was the most bait thing to reject ever. If someone was using Malcolm and homing, you best hope that basically someone else is distracting the people you're going after, because most of the time people would reject your rockets. But super good game, super good game. And I'd like to think as well, you can hear in the soundtrack here, when I was watching this, I was just thinking like the atmosphere it built. It really felt like you were in a big arena, you know, or a ship. The atmosphere sounds great still. George here was one of my first characters I used. He's a juggernaut, big juggernaut. Now this is the episode I haven't really seen. This is again one of my favourite maps. All the maps are very good in this, very big. Some are small. Ascension and a few of the others are my favourite. Is this? Ascension's at the end here. Beautiful stuff. This is the map I played over and over and over and over and over again against bots. When I played offline, this is the map I usually played. Not always, but this is probably one of the biggest maps in the game. And I used to put the bots on the hardest difficulty, and I used to go 1 versus 4 bots. That's how I played. I put the bots on I think it was on the red difficulty. It was the hardest difficulty. Absolutely insane. And I used to put that 1 versus 4. And to give myself a break, sometimes I'd put 2 versus 4. So I'd give myself, I don't know why it's done that. I'd give myself a bot to basically keep me, try and keep me alive. Now this had some of these ogre guys. They were great, and then Crag's one of them here. I can't remember the other one. Hyena, was he another one? They were fantastic characters in their own right. And we got Judas here, and I think there was Brock. These were kind of like the vampire characters. I think this female character here was a vampire character as well. They were, I would say, the meta in the day, and they were extremely popular. Some of the best players in the game used those characters. I didn't. I religiously didn't. As I said, I kind of liked Raiden, and Selket a bit was one of my favorite. I did used to like her, but they had a very powerful adrenaline move called Vampire, as well as probably a couple others. And Vampire would make it so any damage they did to someone gave them health. And as you can imagine, that was definitely a meta in the game. The people, and I think they could go invisible as well. I think Brock or maybe Judas here could do an illusion where it would give him a hologram of himself. So it would give him a fake version of himself, and you wouldn't know where the actual guy was. There was so much in this game that was just, as you can imagine, you just keep building like the skill required. Once you get into the depth of it, for like, you know, any game like Fortnite or anything, the skill ceiling was so high. I really do have fond memories, and I'd love to see it come back, because I think it would be fun. I think people would like this. I think people would like this more now than they did in 2004, whenever it was. When I was 13 years old playing this for the first time with my squeaky little voice. Being like, hello, can anyone hear me? And actually hearing a voice on the other end of the microphone, I'm like, oh my shit, what is going on here? This was literally my first experiences really playing multiplayer. There was a bit, but I think Unreal Championship before it was dead. This was again one of the few games I played, and Chaos Theory, which is a beautiful game. Burnout 3, Takedown, that was good. I think those 3 games are some of the most popular games I played online. Yeah, just I would love to see it remade. No one's talked about it. Talks about it. I've been meaning to do this video for a little while. I'd like to do more videos on this game, as I say, because it's something that basically started it all for me. This is what got me good, I would say. This is the game that got me predicting not just where's he going to go now, if he's going to jump above me, where do I have to aim? If he's going to jump over there, where do I have to aim? It got me thinking in such a different way that no other game had done before, like Quake or Unreal Tournament itself. It never made me think that far ahead of where you have to be in terms of your enemy. Really, really good. Super fun. I've tried having a look if there's any emulators I can play it on, but emulating the Xbox is a little bit tricky. I think the way it wanted me to do it is I had to still like mount it like a disc or something. I don't really know. It gets a little bit beyond me, some of that. I'd love to see this guy do some rejections or something, but probably won't see much as it goes. I say he's dead. Oh, unlucky. You see how much he... Oh, shit, do it. Oh, love to have seen it. But you can see he's pretty much dead here. That Anubis, there you go. Yeah, one tapped him, easy. He was literally one hit the entire time. I mean, low-key, Judas was a bit was the character that wasn't used so much. Oh, you got him. Yeah, there you go, the homing. Nice. You could say it's a bit corny with the freeze, but there wasn't... I think the skill ceiling was so high on this that no one really cared. Like, it... I don't remember there being too much hate or, like, trolling or flaming or... People didn't really argue. It was a lot more respectful back then, I feel. Maybe the occasional, you know, someone will be a bit rude, but I do remember on the whole, there was generally a lot of respect in this game. You know, some people actually going against each other just because they want to get better, basically. Like, it was very fun. Very, very fun. The shock rifle there, oh, probably one of the hardest guns in the game to use. Again, some people are just so good with that. You can shoot a typical shock rifle, shoot an orb, and then shoot a beam into it and makes a huge explosion. Again, there was some amazing people with that back in the day. You wouldn't even see them before you got killed. You would just get an orb come around the corner, and then you'd go near it in the wrong timing, and boom, because you're next to it, you just explode because they just had an idea you're coming around the corner or whatever. It's the actual word game awareness was a big thing, unlike now where you can just cheat. I can't believe the industry. I can't believe people like Activision don't take it seriously and don't have one of the best anti-cheats in the industry and are game leading with the anti-cheat technology and pride themselves on how their game hasn't got cheaters in it, but instead they market their game using cheaters to sell their game on a streaming platform, which is wow, that's 2022 in a nutshell, I think, if I'm honest. I think I'd go back to this period in time any day of the week, and I'm not even kidding. Yeah, poison, yeah. There's so many adrenaline moves I can't remember, which is why I'd like to go over this game again. So if you've watched this video, I do appreciate it. I'd like to think it's come across. I've at least spoken the main things I wanted to speak about. Will he get a finishing move? Well, they're both trying to freeze him. As I said, this was so unique. I don't think there's any game now. You could have two fully kitted. You've got max adrenaline, say you're fully kitted armor, fully kitted health. I don't think there's any game out here today that you can push two people on the opposite team at the same time with melee and come out the winner. There's not many games that you can do that. This was that game. You could go in, you could literally stand there and taunt people, being like, and what? You're going to try and fucking shoot me? Reject most of their stuff back to them, cause damage, push in, whether it be for a lunge melee attack or a burst or a lunge, either do some melee damage and quickly get out your rocket launcher, finish him off, and then triple shot the guy that's having a heart attack in the corner. There was so much room for skill, and the moments that happened in this game were so glorious that I just... It staggers me that we live in this day and age, and there's nothing. Fortnite, I could say, is kind of in that realm, but still, the building and stuff I don't see as skillful. It's just kind of luck. You're kind of just spamming to, who can get cover first or whatever, and that's just different. But anyway, if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like. I say I'd actually looking at getting an Xbox, either a One S again, because I had one before, or just get a 360. And I'd like to do particularly more content on this era of games, 360 and Xbox games. But this game, as I say, is probably my #1 game ever. Just ever. And I don't know how else I can put it into words. So again, thank you, and bye-bye.